Hi. Okay, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Julissa Jaikran. I am a makeup artist and beauty writer living in New York City. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for coming. If this is your millionth time, it's the second time, your first time, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please give me likes and comment, and also don't forget to subscribe. So today, you know what we're talking about, right? Contouring, contour that is super, it's just everywhere, and it's everywhere. And we're gonna talk about it a little bit. I had a request from this lovely lady right here, and I know we link like that, right? We have our understanding. So it's true, I don't really talk a lot about the things in my kit. So light bulb moment, I want to talk about the things that I use in my kit for contouring. Now, I have a confession. Sip some tea, sip some water. It may not be too surprising, but I do not own one contouring palette. I do not own any. And it might be a little bit shocking because, companies send out gratis, or you just want to try new things. And honestly, I just don't find that I have a need to buy a contouring palette. If I have one, wonderful, that's great. I have what I need right now, so I just like my kit to be very minimalistic. I don't like to carry a lot around. I use my Zuka backpack most of the time. So if you're looking for contouring palettes, I apologize in advance, but there are other ways, and I want to teach you a little bit about contouring. And briefly, I'm just showing you basically what I use right now on myself and in my kit. So if you want to see more of that, you want to get the Lolo, keep watching. So the first product that I use in my kit are the MAC Sculpting Creams. And obviously they are not packaging this. This is from Muji, this little case. Do you see how small this thing is? This is 4 compacts into this little thing right here. So I depotted it into this. I don't have all the colors, but this is what it looks like. And I really like this for contouring because of the texture of it. It blends really smoothly. And I have a spatula here so I can show you guys. Give me 1 second. Now don't get mad at me that I'm showing you this because MAC doesn't make these anymore. You know how MAC does. But I just want to show you a little bit of the texture. So even if you have a sculpting, a contouring kit, you want this to be a texture that blends very easily. You don't want it to be too thick. So you see how that blends, and it literally feels like, now it feels like a powder on my hand. So you want something that's gonna blend seamlessly into the skin, that you don't have to spend the next 3 years of your life blending it away. I really like this. So if you can find anything that's creamy, if it's possible for you to test a product first in terms of the blendability, or just reading reviews, I would highly suggest something like this. And man, please bring this back, because I'm just like, oh, I want to use it. It's in my kit, and sometimes I'm like, shit, I would really love to use that, but I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna leave it on my kid. I'm not gonna use it on myself, which is, most of the time I suffer. My kid is on so-called fleek. So next, we're going into, we'll stick with creams right now. So I have this Mehron palette, and this is the Mehron Celebrate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is a huge palette of all their foundations, and I depotted it into this small view set palette. You guys know, small, cute, and neat. And I did this a while ago, and while these are foundations, these are very creamy and they blend very nicely. So I have a range of colors. Obviously, some of them might be too warm, but looking at this is definitely very red, so I'll use more of the cooler browns, or even in this, according to what the complexion of the person is. I always try to recommend that you use something very cool, unless you are very deep or you have a very red undertone. Then you could use something that has more of a red undertone, because you want your contouring to look seamless. Even with powders, and we're going to get into powders next, even with powders, you don't want anything to be too warm or too orange, because it's going to look as like a bronzer. And while you can contour with a bronzer, you may not necessarily want to look bronzy, you just want to contour. So you know, it sometimes get very confusing because it's like, oh, I want a bronzer, I want a contour, but you know, most of the time I try to recommend something that's more on the cooler tone, so you can, if you decide to put an orange blush on or peach blush on, it's not too much competing on your face. Next, I do not leave home without this little palette here. Oh, it's not a little palette, but this is a Z palette. I've had this for a while, so apologies if it looks, you know, I cleaned her up today. And these are MAC sculpting powders. These are not magnetic, so we'll see how. No, it is actually. Is it? Yeah, it is. So I have a bunch of sculpting powders from MAC. Let me tell you the shades that I have, just so you know. So this one is shadowy, right? And this is a very nice cool brown. The next one I have, this is actually a blush. It's one of the new colors, and this one is called Swiss Chocolate, and this one is more on the redder side, but sometimes I actually use this on myself and I love it. I set my contour a little bit with I set my contour today with it a little bit. The next one is, who's texting me? Definitive. Right, I'm just showing you the deeper colors. We're gonna get into the lighter colors as well. This one is called Shadester. This one is called, let's get up closer. This one is called Bone Beige. So you know, if you're a lighter skin tone, this would be really good. Bone Beige. This is actually really nice and very light skin tones. I really like it. And honestly, a color that most people can get away with is this taupe color. Taupe is a must-have in a kit, and taupe is it's just generally a must-have, honestly. If I don't have this in my kit, I have a slight panic attack, because I definitely need that all the time. And then this little one, I honestly don't even know what it is. This is from Sasha Cosmetics, but I like that it's a very cool color. This one, when you blend it a little bit, it gets deeper, which is what I like about it. It's like the sister of, so this is taupe right here, and this is the Sasha color, so it's like they're a little bit like sisters. So I really like to play around with these tones, and like I said, this one obviously you can see is a little bit more red, but it looks absolutely beautiful on my skin tone, just for like warming up and contouring. So yeah, those are the sculpting powders. Next I have this. This is Sasha Cosmetics, and this is called Matte Brown. That's what it looks like. Can you see? And I honestly love this. I'll be honest, I haven't used it in a while, but it is comparable to, let's say, MAC NW58 in the Studio Fix powder, and I will also recommend those if you want something to just warm up the skin and you don't want to use a bronzer. Bronzers are too warm, or something is just too cool and you're not finding like a nice base, and you're like obviously we're talking about the deeper complexions right now. The MAC Studio Fix powders are really nice. I would compare this to NW58. I wouldn't necessarily do NW58 on me. If I'm doing it, I would blend very, very well. But I'll do something like an NW50. And even maybe for lighter skin tones, you can do like an NW35, NW40. And if you want to contour with a powder like that. I really like this. It's sold as a blush. I've been using this before I was introduced, and before I moved to New York, and I was introduced to all these different brands. And you know, now that contouring is such a big thing, you know, brands come up with these shades and the sculpts, and you know, I definitely want to get into more of those, because Makeup Forever has some amazing sculpting powder kits, and MAC now has like a duo that has a sculpting shade in it and a kind of a highlighting color, and I used it yesterday, and I really really like it. So maybe in a couple months when I play around with some more things and I introduce new things into my kit, you know, I will probably do an update on contouring in my kit and give you more of an in-depth review and really go through the products and swatch through everything. But that's that. Sasha Cosmetics. Obviously, if you're not in Trinidad or the Caribbean, I know you can still order this online. Yeah, you can still order this online, but you know, if you want an alternative, you can do NW58, or you can give Sasha a try. I really like their blushes. You know, I've been talking about them since the inception of this channel. So and then last but not least, we are talking about these, and these are classics. These are classics, to be honest. I used to use Black Opal creams a lot, and then I just kind of stopped. I started to use N8 Cappuccino. I think it's L'Oreal True Match. And then I started to just move away from, like, you know, just, you know, you kind of get accustomed to new things. Like today I'm wearing the new shade, because remember I told you guys in the last video how like 175 in Makeup Forever is too red for me, so now I'm using a new color. I'll put it up here for you guys, the new color that I'm wearing. So I'm wearing that today, and then I use this this Black Opal foundation stick. Today I use, which one did I use? No, I didn't use this one. I use Black Walnut, and Black Walnut is the darkest one. So if you want to contouring with this is pretty easy. I like how this blends. It's actually almost similar to the texture of the MAC Sculpting creams. It's when you when I feel it on my skin, this might be a little bit heavier, but it still blends in a way that it doesn't, it's a cream, but it doesn't blend very, it's just like a cream to powder. It doesn't blend and look shiny, which is what I really like. So I use that today as my contour. Nothing too dramatic. Let me let you guys get up in there. And then I set it a little bit with the Swiss chocolate, and yeah, and I'm using a Black Opal blush. So I'm hoping that this video helped you in some way, shape or form, and if you have a product that you're not sure you're considering buying, drop the name down below for me. I'll check it out, because sometimes now just by looking at a shade you will know, okay, maybe this is good. Most of the time, you know, you want to try and test things out on your skin to see how it would work, but there's a lot of different things. I just want you guys to make sure that you're not picking too many bronzers or too many orangey warm shades to make, you know, to form this contouring technique, because you really want everything to look seamless, everything to look shaded and not like, you know, not too much of anything. Thank you so much for subscribing, and if you have any other requests like this one, I will be happy to answer them. So I'll see you guys.